The organisation Undoing Tax Abuse is calling on government to extend the fuel levy relief for another month to prevent an increase of around £2.50 for a litre of fuel next month. Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana extended the general fuel levy relief last month and said it would be R150 until the 6th of July. Let's talk about this now with the Outa CEO Wayne Duvenage. Wayne, good to see you as always. This extension of the relief, should it be kept at the current terms or could more be done?
Yeah, look, I mean, we understand the predicament that government's in. It needs all the revenue that it can, but at the same time, citizens and transporters and the inflation rate that is going to be impacted by this cannot afford to have another increase of the magnitude that is coming. So without the reprieve being adjusted, just before we do anything in that space, it's about R1.50 to R2 increase coming on the 6th or next Wednesday in the beginning of August. So we're asking that the minister has applied this reprieve, firstly for 2 months, then he extended it for 3 months. And things haven't changed. They've got worse with the international geopolitical issues that are giving rise to high oil prices, and our rand is not strengthened. And we're asking government to do what it has done and extend this relief again for another month or two until things are the problem is reduced somewhat, so that we can claw back, or government can claw back this fuel levy reprieve.
It was meant to be a temporary fix. How much longer can we keep extending it, and where are the long-term solutions?
Well, the long-term solutions are in the review of the entire price of petrol, the makeup thereof. They have indicated that they're going to do that, but the only real place they can make some concessions is in the fuel levy. And we've always said that they've pushed the envelope in increasing the fuel levy too high over the past 15 years or so, well above inflation. And had they not done so, we wouldn't be in this predicament. Now the fuel levy would be a lot less, and probably at least R1 lower than what it should be, or what it has been at. So that's the one area. The other area is we believe that situations like this, a crisis of this nature, gives government the opportunity to tighten its belt. It gives government the opportunity to look at all the departments that are operating and say, we have become bloated, and they know that. We are wasting money. We have too much maladministration. We need to save money for the state, for the taxpayers, so that we don't have to lean on them continuously the way we have with all these increases in the past. And I think if government seizes this opportunity, we might find some long-term benefits and gains for society at large.
But when it comes to, of course, reducing government's wage bill, it's easier said than done, because there's already been resistance from the labour sector, which has even gone all the way to court. For example, unions, they're fighting for previous agreements where they say they were promised increases which have not come forward, right? So even if government were to try to do that, it's not something that would be done, say, by the end of July. And you also wonder then, in a country where government is basically the largest single employer, what would you even do if many of those people would be without work?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a multifaceted approach that we have to take, and it's not just in the wage bill. It's the number of people that we have in government, plus all the perks that come with it, all the travel fees, the cars. I mean, we've said in the past that if government just adopted a policy of buying local, so that we don't have to import and have import duties and that applied, and then scale down, so we don't have to have all the luxury that is bestowed upon MPs and government employees, things might change. So what we need is government to take an approach of saying, how do we reduce the cost? How do we introduce zero-based budgeting? Why do we have all the contracts and all the expenditure that we have right now? Tito Mboweni spoke of this a couple of years ago. Zero-based budgeting means clean the slate, and how do we run government more efficiently? If we don't go down this road, we're not going to be competitive as a country. We're going to continuously push up the price of living, and we've seen it not only in national government, but in local government, where rates and taxes have gone well above inflation as well. Toll fees have gone above inflation. Everything, when it comes to government spending, has been pushed to the limit. Now is the time to pull back and to make sure that we have a country where its citizens can afford to pay the taxes. And this is a good start, by starting with the fuel levy.
And what happens in the interim while all of that is discussed and possibly implemented? Because as things stand, you highlighted this at the beginning, part of the reason why we're paying so much for fuel has to do with Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We're seeing a cost of living crisis play out in Europe. We're seeing the same in the United States as well. So we're not the only ones on this boat.
Yeah, look, it's as I said, a multifaceted approach. This is going to cost government 2.8 billion rand a month at 1.50 rand of the fuel levy. But we're talking trillions in the budget, and we have got room to move. We believe government does have room to move, but it's got to take a serious approach, an introspective approach to finding the savings for society. If not, and it wants to press ahead with these fuel increases and these levy increases, then we have to sit with and deal with higher inflation than we would have had. And that has a longer-term knock-on effect on the country's economy. So it's a catch-22 that the minister is in, and we understand that. But we believe that there are ways that they can look at this and introduce it. It's not difficult. They've done it for 3 months now. And we believe they should be looking for longer-term solutions, not temporary ones.
How much different do you think the situation would be for South Africans in the midst of this cost of living crisis if we had a proper public transport infrastructure system?
Oh, well, I mean, that would be amazing, and that's what we've needed and called for a long time. Government has been remiss on its focus on making sure that we have efficient public transport. As we've always said, you know, the sign of a developed society is not when the poor get to work in cars, but it's when the rich use public transport as well. And that's what's missing, especially in our very badly spatially developed cities, where the poorest have to drive the furthest or travel the longest to get to and from work. This is a problem that should have been dealt with 20 years ago and really meted out and introduced into our transport planning. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened, and now this situation hurts us even more and harder. So government needs to introduce a better planning when it comes to public transport in all our major cities.
Wayne Duvenage, CEO of the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, thank you for your time as always.